Okay, so these are my questions to you, Brian. Okay, only questions because I get a little bit deeper than maybe the dancers. Um, what do you feel dancers and artists, do you actually feel that they work less hard than what they used to do years ago?
It's so hard because I feel like I generationalize, there's the word, a lot. And I don't like to get down on newer generations because they are just doing what they learned. But I do see a huge difference in how hard dancers work. And again, it's not every dancer. There are the exceptions. There are the dancers who are working their butts off in class. So they do exist, and it's hard for them to be sort of grouped into this generation because I know that they feel like it's I'm not like that. Don't say that about our generation. But when I teach class, there is a lack of classroom etiquette and push and drive globally. And I teach everywhere on all the continents, everywhere. And it's everywhere. Whereas when I was younger, even in my 20s, which is 20 years ago, there was still a lot more drive and push and etiquette. It is something that is bred by people teaching who should not be teaching and don't know how to teach proper classroom etiquette and teach their students how to take class. There is a way to take class, and that's what has been forgotten and left behind. So it's a shame. And it comes from people who weren't properly trained teaching class. And it comes from people who want to be a teacher before being able to know how to dance. That sounds shady. It's not meant to sound shady. It's,
Right.
but I
I
see it all the time, and you see the weaknesses in their own abilities coming through in their students. So if they didn't ever properly learn how to execute basic dance foundations, then you see them passing that on to students and breeding this improper dancing. So it's a shame. It truly is. We
or
were
they just or they just on the phone like this as they're listening to the teacher texting mom and dad. Like we never used.
level. That's a complete other level. I run into that a lot when I do global master teaching at dance camps. Um, People on their phones, people bringing their phones in and videoing while you're in the middle of dancing and taking class, and that's just unacceptable.
Okay.
It is completely unacceptable, and um, it doesn't have to do with the street scene and the urban scene and freestyle. It doesn't have to do with that because when I was a kid, I took my first uh, b-boying class in a little warehouse somewhere with a piece of cardboard from a b-boy, and he was teaching technique and training me, and it was like three of us in the room, and it was cheap. He had never gone to a proper studio and learned how to dance, but he learned on the streets, and he was still teaching us in a setting where there was etiquette going on. So it doesn't have to do with just, oh, well, I didn't come from a ballet school. I don't know that. It's just common sense. It's common sense. And it's knowing that you have your room as a teacher in the palm of your hand. It's respect. It's etiquette. Everyone went to school. I like to apply the same methods that you use in real school to dance school.
Mhm.
That's it. No talking while the teacher's talking. No pulling your phones out while things are going on. They say at the end of class when they're doing special groups, hey, you guys can get your phones out. Then it's fine. But you should never just assume that it's okay to do things as a dancer in class.
It's the
Ever.
funny on your face like this, like, and you're like, what? I'm just talking. I'm trying to help you as a teacher. You
And
know.
so trying to take pictures after class, going up to the teacher in the room and getting the pictures. There's sometimes a lot of people in a room, and there's a class immediately following that. So proper classroom etiquette is to grab your things and go outside and wait for the teacher to be outside to thank them for the class. And I understand that you're excited to see them for the first time. So asking for pictures is totally acceptable. It's just where you do it. And I think how you approach doing it. Um, yeah, those are things that I think dancers should always think about. I'm
Abs-
always there for the picture, but I would prefer that it would be outside after the class just so that you give respect to the following teacher who is coming into the room. And for me, if I'm the next teacher coming into the room and I'm walking in and I can't even get to put my things down and I have to start my class late because you're trying to take pictures of the teacher who's in the room, it's just a little disrespectful to everyone around. And I understand you want the pictures, but everyone wants the pictures. So one turns into 20, turns into 50 and 100, depending on how big the room is.
Yeah, I know. And
That's it. Just think about it.
yeah, exactly. My second one for you, Brian, is what would you say is the hardest obstacle for a dancer nowadays for their career to succeed because of how it is nowadays, and what advice would you give them? That's my deep questions right there for you. I'm sorry.
Well, it's a hard question for me to answer because I'm not a dancer now. And I knew the ins and the outs of the dance industry when I was a dancer. I know what it is to tell a dancer to train to be the best dancer they can be. But in terms of working in the industry, I'm not sure what their problems are. I think the best person to answer those questions are 20-year-old professional dancers who are really in it and struggling now, and you can compare what the ones who aren't working maybe aren't doing versus the ones who are and what's keeping them employed. I think not what the biggest problem is, but the biggest thing that you can do to try and work as a professional dancer now in the industry is just to get on people's radars. There are so many working choreographers out there, and a lot of people think that, oh, I have to be in everyone's eye line, and you don't necessarily. If you get underneath one amazing choreographer that works all the time, let's say like a Paris Goebel. Paris works nonstop. Kyle Hanagami works nonstop. Tasanda Chavez works nonstop. So you look at those three choreographers. If you get underneath their wing, they will keep you employed if you are doing exactly what they want and they love you as a dancer. And then you don't need anything else. You build your resume off of that one choreographer who keeps working for you. And then if you're on a break and they're not doing a job, you get an audition, you walk in with that resume and with your talent to back it up, and you will then start working for all these other choreographers. If you are not underneath a choreographer, then yes, get on everyone's radar, get in everyone's class that you can possibly take that is working, and excel at their work. It's the truth. If you are killing their work and they see you and they remember you, they want to hire you. And that's the thing. As choreographers, we need you as dancers.
Exactly.
We need you. You don't need us, but you do need us. But we need you to be good. We are no one as a choreographer without incredible dancers to do our work. So when you step into our room, into our audition, we are rooting for you. We want you to be excellent at our work. We want you to kill it. So all that you have to do, the only work you have to do as a dancer is your job as a dancer, and be good, be incredible. So it's all right there in your hands. If you show up, if you do it right, if you kill it, you work. It's that easy.
Simple. Let's see the next one. I know you've gone through some serious injuries, and I have too. So I want the guys to hear from you, because you're top of the range. Yeah, everybody has so much respect for you over here in the UK and Europe. What do you do when you have an injury? Please tell them, Brian.
Well, what I do when I have had, or what I've done when I've had injuries, is not always what I should have done. I used to push through my injuries and try and just make it work because I couldn't take time off. In my eyes, I couldn't take time off. Not thinking about the time I was going to have to take off because I didn't take care of myself when I was younger. And it's easier said than done. You'll hear me say it right now, but you won't apply it until it's too late. And I watch that happen all the time, even with my assistants, when I tell them, you know what, you're not performing well right now because you have a bad this, a bad that, you need to take time off. And they're like, no, I'm good. And then I end up telling them, no, I'm booking someone else because I need you to be good for me for the long haul, not just for this week. That is what you have to do, is you have to let your injuries heal properly and not go back too soon. My first injury that I had was not really an injury. It was a growth injury. I was growing really fast when I was a teenager, and I developed something called Osgood-Schlatter. And I have a bone that sticks out on my knee. and I couldn't walk. There was a period of time when I was 15 years old, where turning 16, where I was having to go around in a wheelchair, and I was using crutches to get around, but I was still dancing through it, which was one of the hardest pains of my life. And my knees hurt every day. And they have since I was that age. They've hurt my entire career, my entire life. Doing floor work on my knees is
excruciating
because I'm straight on a bone that is always bruised. So you'll see in my choreography, there's very rarely knee work. There's floor work, but not sitting directly on the tops of your knees. And if there is work that's like that, you will never see me do the choreography. If it's videos that come out that are like that, you won't see me dancing in them because I can't physically do that. That is what I know now in my older age, is that I do what I am capable of, and I will never risk my body for a dance step ever again. I've had my shoulder basically since I was in my late teens, early 20s. One of them went, and then the other one went right after it. And I have bicipital tendonitis, which is a daily thing. It basically feels like there is a knife in my shoulder always. And if you move it, it gets worse. So that's something that I deal with. I've had surgery on this shoulder. And I did wait the amount of time. So thank God that exact injury, it was a torn labrum, didn't come back. Because I did the physical therapy. And that's when I really learned about how to take care of my body. And I think physio is the best thing you could possibly do. If you've got a weak area in your body where it's giving you trouble, don't do I'm going to ice and heat and stretch it out, because you don't actually know what's wrong with it.
Exactly.
Go get a medical opinion, get an x-ray, get an MRI, get it checked out, and then go to a physical therapist or a physio, as you say over there, and have the work done on it. They will teach you all the proper exercises to strengthen what it is that is hurting you. And I incorporate all of those exercises. I've done physio for my ankles. I've done it for my wrists. I've done it for my knees. I've done it for my hips. I've done it for my shoulders, and I've done it for my neck and my low back. Those are all the things that I have that are my chronic pain injuries that get me all the time. I incorporate those injuries into my daily life. If I go to the gym to work out, I bring my elastic bands and I do my physio exercises prior to my gym workout. If I go into the studio to choreograph, my warm-up is my physio exercises, not my dance warm-up, because it strengthens and activates and fires those muscles that you need to have working, where they aren't necessarily the muscles that you think are the ones that are making the muscle group that you're working with work. So I think it's about education and really knowing your body, and having someone teach you how to use those muscle groups. A lot of dancers just throw their bodies into things rather than learning how to work your muscles and where they are supposed to be activating from. So that's going to help you with a lot of injuries or prevention. There's a good one. Look up Sugarfoot Therapy. That is my physical therapist's wife, who is a dancer, and she's an incredible dancer. And she created this workout that really is for dancers and for strengthening their bodies to be able to do what it is that they do. So I started taking that class after I would finish my physio. I would go in and take her class there at the physical therapy place, and it made a huge difference in my body.
There you go. Now check it out, guys. Now you know. We'll put a little note in there for them to.
And then also offer it on CLI Studios, which I've now that we're teaching online classes, I've done a live one for CLI, and I'm going to do another one coming up very soon. But CLI on their site offers Sugarfoot Therapy, which is great.
Oh, there you go. I've got a broken finger at the moment, so I'm saying this is my 6th week, so I'm getting there. But I had 6 knee operations, so I've got brand new knee, and I tell you what, I have to say, I tell my students all the time, Brian, that I don't move when I have the injury, and I feel no pain because I did all my physical therapy. So thanks for that, because maybe they won't listen to me, but they will definitely listen to you.
I hope so.
And as a last thing is, have you ever come across social media, and media negativity towards you, and how do you deal with it?
Daily. It's a daily thing. I think that if you're in the public eye, well, no, scratch that. if you're online, going through it, period. It doesn't have to do with in the public eye. It doesn't have to do with how many followers you have. It's just there. Hate is hate. And everyone goes through it. I think everyone deals with it unless their pages are private and they only bring in people who they love and accept and love them back. So how do I deal with it? I try not to read them. But there's so much goodness in the comments and in the messages that come in that I don't want to miss those. So I still read. It's just when you get to that bad one, the instinct is to finish reading it and see it. And it's hard to turn it off and not hear it. It really is. It's a battle that we all go through. It's just human instinct. If someone says something bad about you, you feel it. I immediately block, and then the comment goes away. My advice is to block. Just keep blocking it out and try not to listen to it. Tune it out after you hear it. Know that that person is not happy with their life if what they have to do is take their time to negatively affect someone else's life. It's really easy. It's them putting their stuff on you. And I go through it. I mean, the amount of horrible comments I get daily, and it's always about my choreography.
Your choreography.
Oh yeah, nonstop. My biggest one that I get is that I dance like I'm having a seizure. This is the daily one. I get it every day. You look like you're having a seizure. Calm down. And my defense for that is I like dancing fast. To me, it's like runners. You know, if you're running in the Olympics, you are better the faster you can go. So I have always applied that to dance. When I was a younger dancer taking classes, if there was fast choreography that had a lot of intricate details, I felt like if I could master that I really achieved something great. So I've taken that into my own choreography, and that's the method of teaching that I use. That doesn't mean everything I do is like that, but that's like what I call more advanced dancing, is when there are more details, when it's more intricate, and when it is faster. I believe that is you being at the top of your field. If you can achieve that, it means your body is at optimum shape. It means your brain is working at a faster pace. So to me, it's excellent. So as much as you want to tell me that it's crazy, then that's fine. You don't have to like it, but I fucking love it. So
exactly, yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so Brian, how is your body feeling right now?
I feel great, and I'm also in a lot of pain.
Okay, so so before we do that, do you have any questions for me? Because I remember as I throw you a little message, but I wanted 3 questions, only if you want to.
Well, I have one. Why did you start Studio 68?
Because I wanted to have the highest standard of dance in Europe, and I didn't feel there was actually a very focused studio for dancers to feel they could take it to the next level. I've realized there was a lot of studios that will have teachers that were good, but I wanted to bring top teachers that, you know, could actually indulge the knowledge and the skills and could actually guide dancers to get to the next level. I felt like there was a lot of beginners classes, which is great, but I didn't feel that there was a way where we could be pushed by, you know, certain, you know, standard choreographers or the newer generation, I will call it, that had all that higher level, and also by, you know, people like yourself or, you know, any other choreographers. I mean, I was trained with Trisha and, you know, for years ago, Lee Daniels, and I just wanted a place that felt, when, you know, when I lived in the States for 3 years, I could have choreographers like that. And if I couldn't have you guys, I will find them in Europe. And that's the reason why. And just create an environment where, you know, we felt we were kind of in America standards, because you guys are very good at what you do, and just bring it to Europe and push forward to a higher level and show the US that we can do it too. And, then be a little bit more united with, okay, you guys do it, we do it, let's do it together. So, yeah. And obviously longer classes, because all the classes were an hour in Europe. And then we just pushed them up to a higher amount of time. That was the reason why I was just itchy to have a millennium in the UK, I guess.
No, it's so important. I mean, and now I think you were the first who sprung up, and now through Europe, it's becoming a thing. People are trying to have more professional studios for older dancers. And I think that's the key, is having it for dancers who want to be professional dancers, not just who want to go take recreational classes.
Yeah.
Okay, so who would you say you wished that more people took from at Studio 68? Is there one teacher who you think is incredible that maybe they aren't a social media teacher, but they don't get the shot to have tons of people in their classes?
The recognition, I will say, as she's growing up, is one of my younger ones, and is Fabienne Liam. She's just super young still. Like she's only 21, but her training, I don't know if you know her, but she's absolutely unbelievable. She's sorry?
I said, now I will.
Oh, you will. Like she does jazz, she does contemporary, she does tap, she does hill, she's gymnastics, she's unbelievable. So yeah, I would like people to obviously take more of her technical classes, because she does know at her age she's a prodigy. I'm sorry?
I said to these dancers out there, you heard it, take that class. Take those classes.
And then with on regards to the hip hop, I think, and I would like my teachers that do the foundational stuff for dancers to be stronger at hip hop, to take the 90s hip hop, some of the old school classes, so then we can we can understand a little bit more. Because I don't feel the dancers, they love whipping their hair and they love touching their face, but I don't think
they're missing.
Yeah, the grooves are missing, and the foundational, like the locking, the popping, the walking, and 90s hip hop, I think is such a major thing. So anybody that's teaching that's obviously the old school teachers that understand that real good, or they've been trained with the old school people that understand. Please go and take those classes. That's what I would say.
Okay, last question.
Oh,
what was your dream job as a dancer? Whether you did it or didn't do it.
I never did it, maybe because I didn't speak English on the first thing, because obviously I'm Spanish, so I only learned English like 20 years ago. I always wanted to dance for Asha. That was my dream. Oh, that was like the biggest.
What video was it that made you want to dance for him? What was it, My Way?
Or like even like when he was even younger, like the Nice and Slow, I just love like when he started up. I don't know what it was about him, apart from obviously Michael Jackson, but that was like every dancer, or Janet, which I know you've done it and you make me super jealous. But after Michael and Janet will have been Asha. But I'm just happy that that I got to enjoy all that music that maybe the younger ones don't even appreciate or know who he is or what they've done. So yeah, he's just fascinates me on stage. He's such a performer. I love him. I think he's great.
Yeah. Usher's amazing.
I really like him. But hey, I stay there, and maybe I get a chance one day just to shake hands. I did it in 2004. Yeah, and I managed to shake hands in a party that I was invited, and I was just so happy to just get the chance to meet him, because I respect his music.
My Madonna thing. I'm like, at least I got to talk to her, and she said my name. We had a little conversation. I'm like, that's good. I'll live with that.
I'm happy with that too.